Hey everybody, welcome back. I am here with your weekly energy report. I do want to let you know I am not feeling well this week, so I'm a little extra quiet. Yes, I'm fine, or hopefully I'm fine, but my voice is not there and my energy is not there. But I should have no problems channeling the high vibrational energies that I do, and in fact that might help me. So I'm here doing the readings today regardless. If you find that you would like a private session with me, you can schedule that on my website, which is IamEmilyGear.com. And so let's go ahead. I've already opened the records. Let's go ahead and look at the energies for the collective for this coming week. Oops, something came out okay. What else wants to come out for the collective here as we get started today? Okay. All right, guys. The first card that popped out, which makes a lot of sense to me, is the Five of Cups. And so a lot of you this week might be feeling the feeling of just sort of regret or grief. Maybe something is wrapping up for you. We just had the new moon. And so I feel like there were a lot of changes, especially in your behavior patterns, belief systems, things like that. And so it necessitates that we leave behind the old, so that we can make room for the new. For some of you, it could be relationships or jobs, but for the majority of you, I'm really feeling like this is an internal thing. You see the back of her head. You don't see her face. It's almost as if she's like having this inner feeling or this inner conflict that's going on. I feel like this grief is actually surfacing for some of you as anger. And so that's kind of like part of the stages of grief, if you think about that. So yeah, I think there, maybe for some of you, and actually I'm having a little bit of this come up today, this feeling of just wanting to flip the table. You know what I mean? Like you're so sick of a certain situation that you're just done with it. So I feel like for some of you guys, it's coming down to not really knowing how to deal with the grief, and therefore it comes out as anger. That's one of the stages of grieving, so that makes some sense. For whatever has changed in your life, whatever deeply rooted cycle has been uprooted and ended. Okay, for a lot of you, or for all of you, these were negative patterns, but because we hold on to them and we make them such huge parts of our lives, it can be, with the Knight of Coins coming up here, it can be difficult to make a change. We can hold on to old patterns because it's what we know, it's what we're used to, it's your rock. All right. And sometimes if that rock is not really stable, we need to get rid of it, or allow it to go is more accurate for this time period. Allow it to leave, allow it to go. So you're kind of standing out there in a deserted plain, I'm feeling like really naked, really vulnerable. And some of the part of this process they're saying is to get you to this vulnerability, because true vulnerability can help to open up those graces. So that means pure and true unconditional love, true love for others, true love for self. All of that comes in the doorway of vulnerability. Yeah, I've never noticed that the face on this knight is actually this like rabid looking, like, I don't know if it's a fox or a wolf, but either way, it looks crazy. And I feel like it just is this, if people are extra defensive this week, just know it's their fear. It's their fear of being vulnerable. It's their fear of the changes in their lives. And everybody's going through this in some sense. Some of you more physically, others more emotionally. But we definitely need to be more awake and aware to, number one, our own actions and our own feelings so that we don't start really lashing out at people. But secondly, about the fact that everyone is going through the same thing right now. Finally, we had the Ten of Swords come out, and there's that ending to a painful cycle. So whatever it is that we're releasing right now, it is in your highest and best good. There is no reason or no positive benefit to trying to hold on to it. Even though you're in this really uncomfortable state right now of maybe feeling insecure, off of stable ground, grieving, upset, angry, any of those things, okay? Just know it will even out. But the reaction that you're having is the product of your unwillingness to have let go before. God. Sorry, guys. I didn't expect to cough this much. I guess it's because I'm talking now. What else wants to come out for us this week, please? What other energies are coming up for the collective this week, please? Interesting. All right. Okay. So we're getting the Sun with the Page of Coins, which is really interesting considering everything I just said. What I'm first hearing is that the Sun in Virgo is actually helping you with this process because you're really starting to hone in on and pick out the things that aren't working for you. Whereas before it felt very amalgamous, it felt very huge. I feel like it almost felt oppressive and you were having trouble really picking and choosing what needs to stay in your life or what needs to go. Because everything was reflecting your internal reality, and it still is. But now you're really getting the, what's the word I want? Discernment to know what is what and what, is bringing you difficult lessons, but is still a positive influence, and what is just done, okay? And that is not to say that everything's going to remain difficult, but not everything that is difficult is necessarily not serving you or a negative influence in your life, if that makes sense. I think you know the difference between something that is challenging and something that is really draining and really hurting you, okay? So that brings in, I don't want to say that there's no joy. There is certainly joy in this week, and joy and I think relief and peace in having let go of some of this stuff that was really painful, okay? But more than that, there's kind of an illumination of where you now need to invest your time with this Page of Coins coming out. I think there's definitely an illumination of the ways in which you might have been squandering your time, your energy. There's never really a squandering. I will say that. I will back up and say that anything that you've put your time and energy into up to this point, which I've said a million times now, you needed to do. There's no wasting of time. There are always lessons and more than lessons, experiences and everything. So now, though, it's being illuminated where you really do need to put your time in, where you may need to invest deeper, where you might need to invest to begin with. Maybe you're starting something new with this new moon. What people, what organizations, what projects, where your focus needs to go now. I'm hearing for some of you, you might be turning around and focusing in on your home situation. Literally your house, making like renovations, or it might come down to renovating your energetic body, which means you're changing some habits as to how you eat or how you exercise, how you meditate, all that kind of stuff. But you now know what it is, okay? This last week has really been about finding out what it is that needs to change for you. And now you're making a commitment to it, which is really a positive is positive, and it counteracts this kind of chaotic energy of like throwing your hands up and flipping the table. This is understanding that there are some things lost, some things that are leaving our lives. But this then is the commitment or the recommitment to what is serving us and what has some kind of value, what we can place our trust in. And again, for a lot of you, that's going to be what you, it's going to have to do with your behavior patterns. Where are you placing your focus and your attention within you? What do they say? Where the attention goes, the energy flows. So if you've been placing so much attention on, feeling negatively about your physical body, of course, that's where all the energy is going to, right? And you're just throwing it into the empty pit of shame and guilt. Whereas now I feel like, you're illuminating some of that. You're releasing the shame and guilt, right? With the 5 of Cups, ending that cycle and reinvesting it in what is going to be a solid foundation to build on. Self-love, right? That's number one. It may be a much more physical thing for you. It might be that you are literally changing your investments. You're investing in your home by renovations, like I just said. You're investing in a relationship by rescheduling the way that you spend time with people. How much time you give to work versus family. How much time you give to self versus family versus work. This is all important, an important part of your foundation. It's the 5-pointed star, they're saying, as I'm noticing this pentagram here. So there may be 5 areas in your life that you need to divide your time up amongst. They may not all be equal, but they all are deserving, and so you need to do it that way. Children, projects, work, self, partner, whatever it is, okay? What else is coming out for the collective this week? Okay. I'm hearing that there is, by the end of the week, really a release, a huge sense of peace that comes through this process. So if you are allowing this process to take place, you're allowing the things to go away, you're setting the intention just with Source that you are releasing your grip on X, Y, and Z, and it can go as it needs, and then you release that to Source, and you no longer keep looking at it and staring at it and wondering if it's still there and all that kind of stuff, which I do, and that is why I know it's happening. Then you'll have the opportunity to build this new foundation, and there's this sense of peace that rushes in when you realize you're now building on more stable ground. You're shooting at a higher goal, a higher vibrational goal for yourself, and you can relax into the joy and know that everything is working toward your highest and best good. When you are listening, when you are reacting with inspired action toward the instructions you're being sort of fed by your higher self, by Source, by your angels, whatever you relate to, okay? I'm definitely getting this really chilled out vibe of peace and trust toward the end of the week. So if you get there toward the end of the week, you know you've done your releasing that you needed to do. But that's the really important part of the beginning of this week, which makes sense having just gone through that new moon. There, we release typically at full moons, but there is also a release with the new moon because you are making room for the new to take root. And the newness here is a sense of peace and well-being and a focus on a new goal, a higher goal than you may have had before. You may experience a shift in your feeling of mission, your feeling of being called to something or someone. And I think that this will be an empowering feeling of being called. It's no longer that feeling of, oh, I'm not good enough. How can I possibly? Now you know and see what you're worth through this process that takes place this week. And that goes along perfectly with these two cards of that feeling of having a higher goal, a higher potential, this feeling of peace, of being supported and having an endless supply of energetic support because you have released those things that are draining you. I got a huge download this morning of just all of the things that are draining me. And unfortunately, there were some people on that list. And it's, there's not an equal exchange. There's not an equal give and take. People are constantly wanting something from me. They want me to support them in some way, energetically or, mostly energetically. There are very few people that I feel like I'm being drained by my physical resources like money or, physical strength or whatever. But tons of people and situations that are kind of parasitic on my energy field. And so I think that I want to remind you this week of cutting cords that need to be cut, releasing energies that need to be released that are draining you, that are maybe taking your focus away from what you need to be focusing on, from the things that let you feel empowered. There is a clearing happening this week, but you must be complicit. You must make the choice to do it, okay, or to allow it more precisely. If you feel like you have things that need to be cleared and you're not sure what they are, or you're struggling to understand, then you can certainly consider setting up a healing session with me, and I can get directly into what's going on with you, clear cords, clear karma, clear negative energy, clear past life type energy, all that kind of stuff we can do in our sessions. So definitely keep that in mind if you're struggling with this, but many of you simply need to allow this to happen. And again, that's the first part of the week that I have brought up here. There's an empowerment that comes about through this. And I believe that this is kind of storing up an energy that is going to be useful to you throughout the rest of September and into Libra season at the end of September. This is getting you primed for Libra season, where I feel like there's going to be a lot more coasting and gliding. There may be work to be done, but it's going to feel, I just really feel this sense that it's going to feel positive, it's going to feel good, it's going to feel joyous. It's going to be like releasing something that has been painful and then dashing forward, even though you still have more to learn, more wisdom to gain. You might not be exactly in the position that you want to be, but it is going to provide you with the sense of empowerment, the sense that you're guided, the sense that you can joyfully take your steps forward, all right? And that's through the rest of September and into Libra season at the end of September. I just want to get some final notes here for you guys. I'm hearing that everything is being released and taken care of in perfect divine timing, all right? So here's the Seven of Pentacles with the Eight of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune. So to me, this feels like, you don't want to bring yourself even deeper into this state of guilt and shame and frustration because you're trying to release things but are trying so hard and looking so closely at it that you find it difficult to let it go because you have made it the entirety of your reality right now, right? So the key here really is allowing things to go that are ready to go, taking inspired action when you are called to, and just knowing that the highest and best good is being served. Okay, Jupiter is now direct. Things are really rolling forward, and I'm hearing right now that once it gets out of its shadow period, the period where it is retracing the steps that it has already taken this year, then it's going to be go fast or go forward much quicker. And I wonder if that's going to happen in Libra season. I don't know. I have to look it up. Again, astrology, not my thing. But that is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like a glide path as we get to later in the month. So right now we're setting that up. We're making that possible. Release when it's time to release. And you will be, this is the other thing they're telling me, Some of you are so hell-bent on making these releases that you are so worried that you're not seeing some of the things that need to be released. And that in itself is creating the sense of guilt, shame, loss, frustration, whatever. And they want me to reassure you that you will be given the guidance that you need when you need it. And so to relax into your inner knowing is the most important thing you can do right now. And simply make the intention to source energy that you are open to receive and you are open to release as you are called, and not a moment sooner or later, basically. Okay. Know that you are exactly where you need to be and that everything is in perfect divine order, that there is nothing to fear, nothing to feel ashamed about, nothing to be upset about. I need to hear this right now too. And there are many blessings for you coming in during the week ahead, okay? All right, guys, I'm going to end it here for today, and thank you all for sitting through my hacking cough and my quiet voice, and I hope that I will be back full strength with you next week. I am going to continue with the Zodiac reads as best as I can, including the extended reads. So let's hope that that will go well. And I will see you guys again next week. All right, bye.